The complete works of Swami Vivekananda, Karma Yoga, Karma and its effect on the character, Part 2. All the actions that we see in this world, all the movements in human society, all the works that we have around us, are simply the display of thought, the manifestation of the will of man. Machines or instruments, cities, ships, or men of war, all these are simply the manifestation of the will of man. And this will is caused by the character, and character is manufactured by karma. As is karma, so is the manifestation of the will. The men of mighty will the world has produced have all been tremendous workers, gigantic souls, with wills powerful enough to overturn worlds. Wills they got by persistent work through ages and ages. Such a gigantic will as that of a Buddha or a Jesus could not be obtained in one life, for we know who their fathers were. It is not known that their fathers ever spoke a word for the good of mankind. Millions and millions of carpenters like Joseph had gone. Millions are still living. Millions and millions of petty kings like Buddha's father had been there in the world. If it was only a case of hereditary transmission, how do you account for this petty prince, who was not perhaps obeyed by his own servants, producing this son whom half the world worships? How do you explain the gulf between the carpenter and his son, whom millions of human beings worship as God? It cannot be solved by the theory of heredity. The gigantic will which Buddha and Jesus threw over the world, whence did it come? Whence came this accumulation of power? It must have been through ages and ages, continuously growing bigger and bigger until it burst on society in a Buddha or Jesus, even rolling down to the present day. All this is determined by karma, work. No one can get anything unless he earns it. This is an eternal law. We may sometimes think it is not so, but in the long run we become convinced of it. A man may struggle all his life for riches. He may cheat thousands. But he finds at last that he did not deserve to become rich, and his life becomes a trouble, a nuisance for him. We may go on accumulating things for our physical enjoyment, but only what we earn is really ours. A fool may buy all the books in the world, and they will be in his library, but he will be able to read only those that he deserves to. And this deserving is produced by karma. Our karma determines what we deserve and what we can assimilate. We are responsible for what we are, and whatever we wish ourselves to be, we have the power to make ourselves. If what we are now has been the result of our own past actions, it certainly follows that of whatever we wish to be in future can be produced by our present actions. So we have to know how to act. You will say, what is the use of learning how to work? Everyone works in the same way or other in this world. But there is such a thing as frittering away our energies. With regard to Karma Yoga, the Gita says that it is by doing work with cleverness and as a science, by knowing how to work one can obtain the greatest results. You must remember that all work is simply to bring out the power of the mind, which is already there, to wake up the soul. The power is inside every man, so is knowing. The different works are like blows to bring them out, to cause these giants to wake up. Man works through various motives. They cannot be work without motive. Some people want to get fame, and they work for fame. Others want money, and they work for money. Others want to have power, and they work for power. Others want to get heaven, and they work for the same. Others want to leave a name when they die, as they do in China. But no man gets a title until he is dead. And that is a better way after all than with us. When a man does something a very good thing, they give a title of nobility to his father, who is dead, or his grandfather. Some people work for that. Some of the followers of certain Mohammedan sects worked all their lives to have a big tomb built for them when they die. I know sects among whom, as soon as a child is born, a tomb is prepared for it. That is, among them, the most important work a man has to do. And the bigger and finer the tomb, the better off the man is supposed to be. Others work as a penance, do all sorts of wicked things, then erect a temple or give something to priests to buy them off, and obtain from them a passport to heaven. They think that this kind of beneficence will clear them and they will go scot-free in spite of their sinfulness. Such are some of the various motives for work. But work for work's sake. There are some who are really the salt of the earth in every country and who work for work's sake, who do not care for name or fame or even go to heaven. They work just because good will come out of it. There are others who do good to the poor and help mankind from still higher motives, because they believe in doing good and loving good. The motive for name and fame seldom brings immediate results. As a rule, they come to us when we are old and have almost done with life. If a man works without any selfish motive in view, does he gain anything? Yes, he gains the highest. Unselfishness is more paying. Only people have not the patience to practice it. It is more paying from the point of view of health also. Love, truth, unselfishness are not merely moral figures of speech, but they form our highest ideal, because in them lies such a manifestation of power. In the first place, a man who can work for 5 days or even for 5 minutes without any selfish motive whatever, without thinking of future, of heaven, of punishment, or anything of the kind, has in him the capacity to become a powerful moral giant. It is hard to do it, but in the heart of our hearts we know its value and the good it brings. It is the greatest manifestation of power, this tremendous self-restraint. Self-restraint is a manifestation of greater power than all outgoing action. A carriage with 4 horses may rush down a hill unrestrained, or the coachman may curb the horses. Which is the greater manifestation of power, to let them go or to hold on to them? A cannonball flying through the air goes a long distance and falls. Another is cut short in its flight by striking against a wall, and the impact generates intense heat. All outgoing energy following a selfish motive is frittered away. It will not cause power to return to you, but if restrained, it will result in the development of power. This self-control will tend to produce a mighty will, a character which makes a Christ or a Buddha. Foolish men do not know this secret. They nevertheless want to rule mankind. Even a fool may rule the whole world if he works and waits. Let him wait a few years, restrain that foolish idea of governing, and when that idea is wholly gone, he will be a power in the world. The majority of us cannot see beyond a few years, just as some animals cannot see beyond a few steps. Just a little narrow circle, that is our world. We have no patience to look beyond, and thus become immoral and wicked. This is our weakness, our powerlessness. From the lowest forms of work are not to be despised. Let the man who knows no better work for selfish ends, for name and fame, but everyone should always try to get towards higher and higher motives and to understand them. To work we have the right, but not to the fruits thereof. Leave the fruits alone. Why care for the results? If you wish to help a man, never think what the man's attitude should be towards you. If you want to do a great or good work, do not trouble to think what the result will be. There arises a difficult question in this ideal of work. intense activity is necessary. We must always work. We cannot live a minute without work. What then becomes of rest? Here is one side of life's struggle, work, in which we are whirling rapidly around. And here is another, that of calm, retiring renunciation. Everything is peaceful around. There is very little noise and slow show only nature of our animals and flowers and mountains. Neither of them is perfect. A man used to solitude, if brought in contact with the surging whirlpool of the world, will be crushed by it, just as the fish that lives in the deep sea water, as soon as it is brought to the surface, breaks into pieces, deprived of the weight of water that is keeping it together. Can a man who has been used to turmoil and rush of life at ease be if he comes to a quiet place? He suffers and perchance may lose his mind. The idle man is he who in the midst of the greatest silence and solitude finds intense activity, and in the midst of intense activity finds the silence and solitude of the desert. He has learned the secret of restraint. He has controlled himself. He has gone through the streets of a big city with all its traffic, and his mind is as calm as if he were in a cave, where not a sound could reach him, and he is intensely working all the time. That is the ideal of Karma Yoga. And if you have attained to that, you have really learned the secret of work.